Let's start the show by talking about my sponsor, Paloma Verde, and their new website, palomaverdecbd.com. Head over to palomaverdecbd.com and check them out for all of your CBD needs. They've got the gummies, tinctures, salves. So if you're needing anything to maybe chill you out, something to help you get mellowed out, something for your joint pain and stiffness, go over to palomaverdecbd.com and give them a check out. Carlos and Vanessa are awesome people. They run a great company. And if you enter the promo code FACTS at checkout, you'll get 25% off your order. Plus, any order over $75, you get free shipping. So, I don't know what you're waiting for. Head over to palomaverdecbd.com and check them out. Let's start the show. This episode will be completely taken out of context. Welcome to the Fact Check This podcast. All right, Fact Check This podcast, and today I'm going to talk about a topic that typically gets people pissed off at me. So if you are a big supporter of the police, I am terribly sorry, but we are going to take a look at police incompetence and ineptitude, and specifically we're going to look at a few cases that have come up over the last couple weeks, and we're also going to, I'm just going to dig right into the Uvalde school stuff that's been released, because that's like the most blatant example of just how terrible the police are at doing their job. So, and let's kick it off by talking about the fact that this whole protect and serve notion is complete and total horseshit. The police, it has been upheld by the Supreme Court. I can't remember the exact ruling or the case where it was brought up, but the Supreme Court has upheld that the police actually have no legal responsibility to protect and serve anything. Their sole purpose is to act as the enforcers of government edicts and laws, and that's it. So when it comes to actual threat to human life, they have no reason to put their own lives at risk to protect other people. They have no there is no legal recourse against a police officer if they allow bad things to happen. Their sole purpose is to do the bidding of the government, and that's it. So when you look at like Uvalde, and you look at the school shooting that happened there, and everything that's come out about that, got to see the school footage where within minutes. All right, so I'm not going down this is not the purpose of this episode. I'm not going down the conspiracy rabbit hole of, was this a setup? Even though it seems incredibly suspicious, everything about the shooter and just all of that. Why hasn't anybody talked to the person he was messaging on Facebook? This person isn't anonymous. They have a name. Anyway, not going into all of that. They were there incredibly fast. I mean, they were at the school within minutes. When has there ever been a police response that fast to anything? Just fucking ever. So, number one, that just seems suspicious. But they were there. They were actually on site within minutes. And they rushed to the room, and they had numbers. There were, I want to say 6 police officers who got there initially. They had numbers to overtake this guy. And then they backed off. And then more showed up. And they continued to stand down. And you can hear shooting in the background as this the gunman is continuing to shoot people. And they're all standing in the hall. And more show up. And the one guy goes over to the hand sanitizer and gets him some hand sanitizer and cleans himself up. And then they continue to stand there. The other guy's playing on his fucking phone. And they continue to stand there. One of the officers is laughing and joking and having a good time. And they continue to stand there. As you hear gunshots in the fucking background. For an hour and 14 minutes? Hour and 17 minutes? I can't remember. All the while, outside of the building, there are... I mean, the hallway was packed. They had the numbers. They had the equipment. At any time, from, I don't know, when they initially showed up, to literally any point in between. I mean, there were 4 or 6 of them right off the bat. You're telling me that they couldn't overtake this guy? And then, as more show up, they can't overtake this guy? I'm not here to go into the conspiracy theory side of it, but for fuck's sake. But then outside the school, you have more police who their sole job is to make sure that the parents who are trying to go in to rescue their kids aren't allowed to go in. And they're actually putting people in handcuffs to keep them from going inside. And now, in the aftermath of all of this, there was one parent who got away from them and got into the building and got her kids out. And I believe she got other kids out as well. I'm not 100% positive on that. But nonetheless, she got her own kids out. And then after she got out with them, then they arrested her. They have since taken it up to park squad cars outside of her house and blow sirens and flash lights and are effectively harassing the shit out of this woman because she did their job better than them. The police have no obligation to protect anyone other than their masters. That's it. They're not here for you and me and our safety. They're here for a paycheck, and their sole purpose is to do whatever the people who sign that check tell them to do. So that brings us to a couple other cases that have come up over the last week or so. I can't remember where the first one was. Police were looking for, I believe it was an armed robbery suspect. And they showed up to raid this house, bust in the door, and throw a flashbang. The flashbang caught the curtains on fire in the house, and the house went up in flames. And a 14-year-old was killed in the fire. As it turned out, the suspect they were looking for was not there. Not only that, it wasn't the right house. Literally no one on that police department will be held responsible for the death of that child. Literally no one in that police department is going to be fired, probably won't even be suspended or fined. Whoever came up with the intel that said that that was the right house to be at, there will be no repercussions for them. They'll continue to give bad intel, and more similar situations will continue to happen. The officers who just threw a flashbang without looking or checking, they'll continue to do that because that's standard practice. That's what they're doing. A child died because of police negligence. And this isn't something new. This isn't something unique. This isn't something that doesn't happen regularly or often. It's way more frequent than you would like to think. In Louisville, a couple and their daughter were painting a vacant house. And Louisville Metro Police Department shows up busts in the door, kicks in or breaks out windows, raids this house, puts an 11-year-old girl in handcuffs, and drags her out of the house. Executing a search warrant on the wrong property, looking for someone who didn't live there. The house was vacant. These people had been paid to paint the interior of a house that nobody was living in. Somehow, Louisville Metro has all of this bad information on a house that nobody's living in, where they're supposed to be looking for some drug dealer or something. And this isn't unusual. This isn't uncommon. This isn't something that doesn't happen regularly. In fact, with Louisville Metro Police, it happens fairly regularly. This is the problem. This is the problem that I have with police. And let me be very clear. I kind of subscribe to a natural order and a hierarchy type thing. I'm a little more on the NRX side of things on certain aspects. A little more new righty. I still have a lot of libertarian leanings, but for the most part, I've kind of abandoned that terminology. And I understand the necessity of a strong security force for maintaining order in a society. It is a necessary thing. The problem that we have with this particular security force is that it's a profit-driven model, not a security-driven model. If it was actually a security-driven model, then it would be part of their job description and job duty is to actually protect and serve people, not to just have that as some like tagline that they use to make you feel good, but that would actually be the fucking job. Because as it stands, that's not the job. The job is there are all of these laws that are in place, and there are all of these mandates and things that the governing body are saying you can do, you can't do, and y'all go enforce that. That's it. No obligation whatsoever to actually protect and serve. It's just a gimmick. Just a catchphrase. So I understand the need for security and a force that maintains that security. But it needs to be a separate entity outside of the higher governing body. And I'm not sure what that looks like exactly. I'm one of these, and this is something that I'm very critical of and not typically hate. Is like, yeah, it's all well and good to identify the problem, but if you don't have a solution for the problem, then you're not really contributing anything. And I don't know what the solution is to this problem. Privatized security force seems like a better alternative, and on a locality basis, like make it incredibly local. Like if my community right here where I live, if we feel like we need a security force, then either we put together a militia or a neighborhood watch, or we hire somebody. Like that's how it should be. It should be incredibly local. And I would almost guarantee you, if you live in a area that has a problem with drugs or violence or what have you, and the people of that area got together and they put together a security force to take care of that, then that would move somewhere else that doesn't have a security force taking care of that. So, like, police your own neighborhoods, police your own communities. Don't rely on the police for that, because at the end of the day, the police have no obligation to do any of that anyway. The only reason that they do it is because there's money involved. So, like, what's the point of seatbelt laws? It's a money grab. Like, if I want to drive without a seatbelt on and I have a wreck and I die, that was a personal decision that I made. I knew when I got in my truck that there was a chance that I might wreck. In fact, traffic accidents are a high-end cause of fatality in the country. A lot more people die in traffic accidents than do from mass shootings. We'll leave that at that. When I get in my truck, I know there's a chance that I might have a wreck. I know if I don't put my seatbelt on, there's a chance I might get thrown through my windshield. If I decide I don't want to wear a seatbelt, then that's a decision on me. Like, if I'm not wearing my seatbelt and I have a wreck and I get thrown through with the windshield and I die, are you going to find my family post-mortem because I wasn't wearing a seatbelt? Probably, honestly. Probably. It's all a money grab. For instance, again, like, if my license is expired, or if my tags are expired, is there really a need to pull me over? And that's actually been the cause of a couple shootings. Is they pulled somebody over for expired tags, and then the officers themselves escalate the situation and end up shooting somebody. You can literally watch videos of these things happening. I can think of 2 specific instances where they pulled somebody over because of expired tags and ended up shooting the individual. If you see that the tag is expired, why can't they just pop it in their little computer and send a bill? Why is it necessary to pull somebody over and initiate a typically hostile situation? I've been pulled over many times. It's incredibly rare. And to be clear, every time that I've been pulled over, it was because I was driving a little bit too fast. I mean, I'm not one of these people that does 90 miles an hour everywhere. Like, when I say a little bit too fast, like, I've literally been pulled over for doing 63 in a 55. Like, what the fuck? I've never had one of those instances where I got pulled over for doing 10, 12 miles over the speed limit, where the police officer did not come up and immediately get hostile with me. Why? Why do we have an expectation that there's not going to be anything bad come from more and more and more and more engagement with hostile individuals? And the people who are hostile are not the supposed lawbreakers. It's the ones who are supposed to be enforcing it. I don't know where this idea of the Punisher being like a symbol for the military and for like the police and all of this. Like, I don't know where that idea came from. It came from them. They view themselves as the Punisher, that they're exacting, vengeance, and they're out there cleaning up the streets, and they're taking care of all these dangerous, violent individuals, and they're doing good stuff. Like, in their little pea fucking brains, they view themselves as the Punisher. The Punisher, everything about the Punisher was anti-police, anti-military. It was like, if you look at Frank Castle's history in Marvel Comics, he came from the military. He was doing shady shit that he discovered was wrong. Everything that he stands for is going against the corrupt police forces that are allowing criminals to behave in criminal manners while punishing innocent individuals who have done nothing wrong. That's the story of Punisher. So if you want to use that as your symbol, maybe hold your own department accountable. Maybe instead of standing there playing on your fucking phone where you've got your Punisher background and doing not a fucking thing as a guy is literally shooting up a school, 40 feet away from you, maybe put the goddamn phone in your pocket, grab your fucking gun, and go punish. There is actually statistics available that many police forces will give an aptitude and IQ test to applicants. And if you test too high, you don't get a job. This is not something for smart people. Because smart people have the cognitive ability to look at shit like pulling somebody over for an expired tag while not pursuing actual violent criminals, and say, hey, maybe we should be doing stuff differently here. Intelligent people don't hold somebody down with a knee on their neck or a knee in their back, and as the person is begging for their life and literally stopping breathing, continue to hold them down. An intelligent person doesn't do these things. You need somebody who's stupid and violent. And if you're a member of police force and you're not stupid and violent, good for you. I would say you're probably in the vast minority. My next question is, or I don't guess I asked a question previously, but if you are one of those people who is actually intelligent, you're not stupid and violent, and you're on a police force, why the fuck aren't you holding the ones who are accountable? They always say that it's just a few bad cops. They always say that that's not how all of the police are. We literally watched a video where dozens of cops stood inside of the building, 10, 15 yards away from a guy who's literally shooting school children and did not a goddamn thing. If it's really one bad apple that spoils the bunch, if it's really few and far between, if it's really a vast minority, then hold that goddamn minority accountable. Run them the fuck out and actually do the goddamn job you claim that you're here to do. Actually fucking protect and serve. Because as long as the police force continues to be exactly what we've seen it be for the last, at least 20 years, if not longer, people are going to continue to have a negative outlook on the police. People are going to continue to think, what the fuck is going on? Why are these dipshits standing in a school 10 yards away from a guy who's literally in the process of shooting school children and not doing a goddamn thing about it? Why do you put a body cam on and then turn it off whenever you get ready to go beat the fuck out of somebody? Why is it that every time something like that happens, there is no body cam footage because it either somehow mysteriously got erased, or it didn't get turned on, or they weren't wearing it? If you are a member of police and you want me to believe that you actually are trying to help, that you really believe in protect and serve, fucking do something about it. Why don't more police officers stand up and call this shit out when it's happening? Why is there no accountability? Why is nobody going to get fired? Why is nobody going to get fined? Why is nobody going to get suspended? Because it's all a goddamn racket. It is a part of the money churning machine. They rob you with taxes. They rob you with bullshit fines. It's all a way to hold you under the thumb of them. The government is them, and every good authoritarian regime needs its strong arm enforcement wing, and that's the police. That's their job. They are not here to protect and serve. They are here to protect the interests of those that they serve. Fucking period. That'll be it for today's episode. Tune back in on Wednesday where I talk about something a little more light and I don't get so pissed off. But if you've watched any of these videos, like, there's no way you can watch any of these videos and not just come away thinking, holy fuck, we should put every one of these bastards in the ground. They don't even deserve to live, much less deserve to have a job. Fucking insane. Fucking insane. I'm not proposing or encouraging violence against police officers. Please don't do that. That's a bad choice. They have guns and body armor. You probably don't have the equipment to match them. Just saying, like, it's hard to watch these videos and not feel that level of infuriation with the police forces in general. So, hope everybody has a great rest of your day. I will see you on Wednesday.